Welcome to today's bite-sized learning about Terraform. Today we are going to be covering Terraform variables and the arguments that you supply along with the variable keyword. Variables are a really important part of the Terraform ecosystem because they are the input that somebody provides when running a Terraform plan or apply on a Terraform directory or Terraform project. There are a couple attributes or arguments that are expected when you supply a variable keyword. When you declare a variable, you do it inside of a .tf file. I covered in an earlier video that I like to declare mine inside a variables.tf file so that they're all in one place. You supply the variable keyword, you give the variable a name, and then you supply at least one of the attributes that go along with the variable that we are about to cover. The arguments for this are the default keyword. Default is an optional attribute where, if provided, it supplies the default value of the variable for that type. If it's a string, it'll be a default string value. If it's an integer, it'll be a default integer value. It is what you supply as input if no direct input for that variable is provided. If you don't supply it, when you run a Terraform plan or apply, it'll prompt you for the input value of the variable. If a default is set, it'll just automatically use that default without asking. Type is the type of variable that you're going to use. There are a couple different types that I'll cover in a future video. String and integer are examples of the type. Description is the string description that you give the variable. This is used as prompt for what is expected in the value of the variable. Validation is a block where you define specific rules for validating that the value is proper or not for that particular variable or an expected value. We will talk about the validation block in a future video. Sensitive is whether or not the output should be restricted of the variable. If you do not supply sensitive, then whenever the variable is outputted or logged in the console, it'll be displayed in plain text. If it's sensitive and it's a true value for it, it'll render it as stars and keep it hidden from view. This is an important thing to do for variables that are considered sensitive and that you don't want displayed in plain text. Nullable, this is a true or false value, and it specifies whether the variable is allowed to be null in the module. So if you don't supply an input, you don't supply a default, is it allowed to be null? Those are sort of the arguments that are allowed, and I'll give you another brief look at the variable block itself. Again, it's the variable keyword, providing any of the attributes. Normally you'll have at least the type and the description. The rest of them are kind of considered optional. Type is really the only required value for a variable. Thank you for your time today. If you enjoyed this educational video, I hope that you'll give me a like and a subscribe, and I'll be back with more Terraform content in the very near future.